In today's video, I'm going to talk about comic references for my character collect Sabretooth. Welcome back, everyone, to the LastPackMagik channel, doing a little character collecting series to really help collectors piece together the importance of comic images, first appearance books, Marvel cards, sketch cards, just kind of tying it all together, making a character collection appear more like a museum collection than just something that's in a shoebox under the bed. If your collection is housed in a shoebox under your bed, there is nothing wrong with that. Good for you. I think we've all done that at one point in time. But if you are thinking about moving from that old box of Nikes into a binder or a Pelican case with magnetic top loaders, you have found the right place. Now, I know that everybody isn't reading every single comic book that comes across their desk in the course of their day, but you should be reading some comics, even if you're just scanning through to see the images of the characters that you collect. In this episode, I'm going to talk about why we want to know the comic images, why we want to know a little bit of the story, and how knowing that story is going to help you identify which cards are really crucial to the collection, often called Grail cards, and which ones are just appearance cards. We're going to talk about Uncanny X-Men issue 212. This is a Wolverine's very first epic battle with Sabretooth. Now, Sabretooth doesn't appear on the cover, but this is really the book that started it all for these two arch nemesis. It's important to know a little bit of the history of this book because a lot of the battle scenes in this are the first time we get to see this very well-matched battle between Logan and Victor. These issues are considered key issues, meaning that something monumental happens in them, whether it be a first appearance or the first time that two characters like Wolverine and Sabretooth square off as enemies. Something critical to the storyline happens there. And therefore, the artwork that's on those pages is important. Look at these fight scenes. These fight scenes make amazing comic cuts, and then you also see them as repeat images on Marvel cards. I've been bringing you guys a lot of videos lately from the outdoors about collecting, about comics, about Marvel cards. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do me a huge favor, hit the subscribe button. As we get a little bit closer to 750, I'm just going to remind everyone that we're giving away a preliminary art of the Human Torch by Dave Palumbo from Marvel Platinum when we hit 750. Thanks a lot for all the help, guys. We're going to keep going. We're going to jump right back into a key issue for my character, Sabretooth, with an epic battle for the first time on the cover. So this is Uncanny X-Men number 213. I'm sure you've heard the expression at some point in your life, don't judge a book by your cover. Well, guess what? That does not apply to comic books and card collecting. Definitely judge a book by its cover. The cover's everything. I mean, these covers are amazing. That's the eye-catching part of it. Who on earth would not be judging these books by the cover? And when you get a first appearance of your two arch nemesis fighting it out, the first cover is really important. This is a great way of defining a key issue. I enjoy these in comic cuts. I really enjoy the artwork from this. These are cool to display on your shelf in graded or raw, and then follow up with other cards from your collection displayed with it. I've shared a few of those on my Instagram. There's a link in the description to my Instagram. Please follow along there and check them out. There's some cool stuff. This issue provides a wealth of great material, of drawings, of fight scenes, and of dialogue. In comic books, it's important to point out that a lot of hard work goes into the writing, and Chris Claremont is an absolute genius of these comic books. I like including these nature clips in these collecting videos because I think that curating collections, what we're trying to do is we're trying to see the forest for the trees. We're trying to see the entirety of the items as the one piece that we're attempting to assemble as opposed to all of its individual components. And when that forest comes together, it looks really special and it feels great to get to that point. enjoying the journey is a big part of it, and I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. I hope you're enjoying nature, and I hope you're enjoying collecting. We're going to keep going. We're going to start out here with X-Men number 6. Jim Lee introduces the first time we see Sabretooth in his traditional costume of today, not to be mistaken with the vintage costume. I love this. I think this is a really great look for Sabretooth, which continues forward into the modern era. I think a lot of people agree with me that this suit is one of the better ones. This is a key issue for exactly this reason, and this brings me to a topic that I want to cover. When your standard character makes an appearance with a top tier character that really makes things a bit more challenging for you price point wise. So not only is Sabretooth Wolverine's arch nemesis, now I've got Psylocke on the cover, so making things even more difficult for tracking down items that have these two with mutual appearances. So in doing so, sometimes you want to be quick on the draw. You want to be prepared to spend a little bit more for these items because they're key issues to your collection. I like this book because it also shows Victor Creed as the warrior, kind of the bad guy that he is, outside of just being Sabretooth. When he's in his costume, I really think of him as a mutant, but when he's in his plain street clothes or his CIA clothes, I think of him more of just a really bad dude. I forget that he has mutant powers. I enjoy this book. This is one of my favorites. While we're enjoying this tranquil moment at the beach, at a spot that I've always considered to be a little bit of a secret, but today everybody seemed to know about it, I want to talk about graded comic books. So when I first started collecting Sabretooth comics, I decided that I was going to go with CGC graded comics for 20 issues, but I had to decide on what grade I was going to get them in. I knew that 9.8s were going to end up being a little bit more expensive than I wanted to go with, so I decided to put together the Sabretooth 9.6 collection. So all of the grades that I went after was every book in a 9.6. You'd be very surprised at how this affects the price point. A 9.8 can fetch around 40% more than a 9.6 oftentimes. Drop a comment below if you disagree with that percentage. I would really like to know what you think. But it's made it a lot more affordable and really made very little difference to me going with this solution. I've been very fortunate in collecting to choose a character that ended up having his own comic run. So Sabretooth having his own comic run really provided a lot of great images, an in-depth story, a lot of really great back history. I've really enjoyed reading these comics. I frequently sit down on the couch. I read most of my comics digitally. I don't have a lot of hard copies of books that I enjoy because I have them graded, so they're not raw. And I really enjoy flipping through on my iPad reading them. I try to read a book a night and go back to it just for casual reading. I love the images in these. I feel very fortunate that Sabretooth had a run like this and continues to today. I hope that you guys are finding a character to collect that has a plethora of comic book images, because it's going to make it that much funner to collect the cards. And you're going to feel good about yourself when you know that back history and you see images come up and you start to piece together the puzzle that is the artists have put forward and that character's personality is portrayed in. It's a really fun way of doing it, and don't forget about those villains, guys. I always say it, if you haven't picked a character yet, please don't shy away from the villains. The villains provide a great opportunity to collect a character. You don't personally have to be a villain to collect a villain, but there are some really good ones out there to start with, guys. I'm really glad that we got to cover a comic book episode today. I always focus on Marvel cards, but I really have grown to love the comics. I got into the cards before the comics, and I think that that's rare. I think that a lot of people were first into the comics and then got into the cards. And if you didn't, I want to make sure that you know that that's totally okay. There's no right way and wrong way to do this. There's just the fun way. If you're doing it fun, you're having fun, you're doing it exactly how you're supposed to. So enjoy reading those books, enjoy learning about the different artists that are there. And please, if this is the first one of these episodes that you've seen, flip back into my playlists and find the rest of these, because this is quite a fun series. And I think that from the comments, a lot of collectors have been getting something out of it, no matter what their collecting level is. Thanks a lot, guys. Please make sure you're subscribed. Take care, everybody.